Ever-living God, this day revives in us memories of loved ones who are no more. What happiness we shared when they walked among us. What joy when loving and being loved, we lived our lives together. Their memory is a blessing forever. Months or years may have passed and still we feel near to them. Our hearts yearn for them. Though the bitter grief has softened, a duller pain abides, for the place where once they stood is now empty. The links of life are broken, but the links of love and longing cannot break. Their souls are bound up in us forever. We see them now with the eye of memory, their faults forgiven, their virtues grown larger. So does goodness live and weakness fade from sight. We remember them with gratitude and bless their names. Their memory is a blessing forever. And we remember as well the members who but yesterday were part of our congregation and community. To all who cared for us and labored for all people, we give tribute. May we prove worthy of carrying on the tradition of our faith, for now the task is ours. Our souls are bound, their souls are bound in ours forever. We give you thanks that they now live and reign with you as a great cloud of witnesses. They surround us with their blessings and offer you hymns of praise and thanksgiving. They are alive forevermore. Amen. It is not often that All Saints falls on a Sunday, so we are using the lectionary for All Saints' Day, and the gospel is Gospel according to Matthew in the 5th chapter. When Jesus saw the crowds, he went up the mountain, and after he sat down, his disciples came to him. Then he began to speak and taught them, saying, "Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be filled. Blessed are the merciful, for they will receive mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they will see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God." The epistle reading comes from the first letter of John in the 3rd chapter. If you know that he is righteous, you may be sure that everyone who does right has been born of him. See what love the Father has given us, that we should be called children of God. And that is what we are. The reason the world does not know us is that it did not know him. Beloved, we are God's children now. What we will be has not yet been revealed. What we do know is this: when he is revealed, we will be like him, for we will see him face to face. And all who have this hope in him purify themselves just as he is pure. This is the wisdom of God. I don't know about if you've heard these stories, but I tend to follow what the news is in France, and they're all in an uproar about a teacher who was assassinated, and the reason was he had pictures of Muhammad in his classroom. This has upset so many people. People in France don't get it. I don't get it. But I know that there is a lot of controversy around images and pictures. Both Muslims and Jews think that our Christian icons are idols. Icons are the name for the pictures you saw in the slides. In Christian history, the use of images has been a critical tipping point issue that has divided the church. An iconoclast is a person who does not venerate or revere pictures or icons. The iconoclastic controversies were on and off in the 7th and 8th centuries. The first was when Pope Leo banned all pictures, icons in 762. There was a violent outbreak, as there often is, ending in 787 with the Seventh Church Council of Nicaea. Then it all started up again in 814. Luther was an iconoclast of a kind. He wanted to stress the Bible, and anything else was a distraction, including pictures. Calvinists are even more iconoclastic. One of them, named Ulrich Zwingli, went so far as to discard not only all images, but no music as well. This has been one of the major parts of our heritage as American Christians. I am not an iconoclast. I am an iconophile. I like images, as I hope you have seen, and I would like to have icons in our churches, pictures of saints, and many other things. I believe in the power of images to move people spiritually. And more broadly, I believe that art should be a part of our life in the church. I didn't really know much about the saints when I was growing up. When I got into seminary, I studied them a little. I love to read their stories. I'm not in favor of venerating them, but learning from them. And to that end, I wish we had our own saints. Everybody knows St. Patrick, right? St. Patrick was actually a Scot. He was captured by pirates, sold into slavery in Ireland. He got a dream that he should escape, and he did. He went back to Scotland, and there he became a priest and then a bishop. And in another dream, he was told by God to go back to Ireland to convert the people. The thing about the snakes is a myth, actually, representing the expulsion of pagans from Ireland. Or let's go up to more modern times. St. Josephine Bakhito, who was brought up as a slave in Sudan in the 19th century. When she was visiting Italy, she escaped, but she could not be free because of her ethnicity. She was Black. So she became a lawyer and fought for the rights of the racially persecuted. I think that's cool, a saint who fought for racial justice. But the patron saint of race relations is St. Martin de Porres. His mother was half African and Native American. His father was a Spaniard who abandoned him. In 16th century Peru, indigenous people were not treated well. He was denied the opportunity to become part of a religious order, so he just was around the monastery and worked and worked and worked until the prior decided to make him a brother. Martin was known for his compassion and kindness. He constructed an orphanage for indigenous children. St. Catherine, the patron saint of philosophers in 4th century Alexandria, she was a brilliant woman. She read voraciously. She was also attractive, and many people wanted her hand in marriage, but she refused unless the person would be her equal. She was also a little bit brazen. She challenged the emperor to a debate about Christianity. The emperor corralled 50 scholars and philosophers, and after it was over, they all converted to Christianity. The emperor was so impressed, he ordered that she become his mistress. She declined, and then she was tortured on the spike wheel, which fell apart, which was an act of God for sure, but then the emperor simply beheaded her. Not so cool. Saints became the role models And collectively, they defined a character that is worthy to imitate, or that is an image of how we are supposed to live. But our eyes have never been on people who are like saints, have they? Did you know that of the top 40 celebrities in the United States, 2020 Esquire magazine, 5 are related to the Kardashians? Khloe, Kourtney, Kylie Jenner, Kim Kardashian West, and who is married to one of my favorites, Kanye West, who supported Trump for a while. I don't know what he was doing after that, but he then wanted to be president himself. Can you imagine another narcissist in the White House? If we look at the Kardashians just by themselves, what kind of characteristics do you think come out? I would be asking you this if we didn't have Zoom, so I'll just tell you what I see. Self-aggrandizement, focus on physical attraction, attention to trivial matters, parties and the such, and not being all that intelligent. Many of the saints sacrificed their lives for the greater good. Can you imagine a Kardashian doing that? Some of the characteristics of saints: humility, compassion, care of others, challenging those in power, being on the side of the poor, sacrifice. Who would we like our children to emulate? The Kardashians or the saints? The gospel text for All Saints' Day is the Beatitudes, and usually they are read as support for those who are not the winners in the world, the poor in spirit, those who mourn, the meek, the hungry, the persecuted. Even though you are meek and you are persecuted, God is still with you. It's about people who find themselves in a bad spot at the bottom, and Jesus saying, even though you are at the bottom, you are blessed more than those on the top, which I agree with. But I often read another direction in the Beatitudes. They are directions to sainthood. They are a guide of how we are supposed to live. We are supposed to seek poverty in spirit. I don't know if you noticed in the song, the first song we had, what was it about saints? And one of the lines was about our leaders crying. Did anybody see that? Saint Padre Pio was dedicated his life to God when he was 5 years old. He was often sickly through his life. He was not a standout. You would never notice him, but he had a potent presence and he had the power to heal. He was a person of poor in spirit. I think I've told you that I've often been troubled by the understanding why those who mourn should be blessed. I mean, what good is there about mourning? But if you look at it this other way, then it makes sense. There's suffering all over the world all the time. And there are those who mourn and there are those who don't. Take Donald Trump, for example. 240-some thousand people have died. Have you ever seen him grieve a little bit? Blessed are those who mourn. Blessed are those who are meek is a synonym for the humble, the modest, and the gentle, not Kanye West. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for the righteousness of God. This isn't something that just happens to people. This is something we are supposed to be. Don't you know Martin Luther King Jr. was hungry and thirsting for God's justice? Blessed are the merciful, the pure in heart, the peacemakers. These are attributes that we are all supposed to seek in our lives. What's happened to America? What's happened? Where did we miss the turn to goodness? Everybody knows that my sign when I go out and protest, you should know by now, make America good again. Part of our problem is that the desire to be great isn't challenged. Where are the Bible-believing Christians of America? Or do I misunderstand Jesus' words who said, whoever wishes to become great among you must be your servant, and whoever wishes to be first among you must be servant of all? Or, unless you change and become like a child, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven. Whoever becomes humble like this child is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven. Where are the Bible-thumping Americans today? They're voting for Trump. The notion that America is a Christian country is pathetic. John Wesley was influenced by the Orthodox Church, particularly the concept of divinization, the idea that as we grow in life, we become closer to God, but not only closer to God, we become like God. That ought to be a purpose in our life. So the epistle lesson that I read for All Saints Day from 1 John in the 3rd chapter, anybody who's been to annual conference knows this passage, right? What is it? It's the bishop's song. Beloved, beloved, we are the children of God, and it does not yet appear what we shall be. But we know that when God appears, we shall be like God. We shall be like God. We shall see God face to face. Every annual conference. There's a clear connection between this idea of divinization and John Wesley's going on to perfection and growing in grace. Sometimes wonder if Wesley, as he was influenced by the Orthodox Church, didn't want to bring back the icons in the saints, but it would have been political suicide. Methodism wouldn't have spread across the continent if anything like there being stages in faith was considered. We don't really want there to be people who are more advanced than us spiritually. We're Americans. We believe in equality. This parallels the distrust of experts in general, like Dr. Fauci. Of course, he's ahead of us as a scientist. I would acknowledge that. But in America, it's getting to be something like, my truth is just as good as your truth. My spirituality is just as good as yours. I look at that, no saints, no icons, no growing in grace, no stages of faith. It's just another form of cheap grace. And these are the ideas that allow Trump to be a Christian just like anybody else, no matter what he does. We have a crisis of character in America today. What we need is not so much posting the 10 Commandments as the Beatitudes. We need more saints. We need more people who are poor in spirit, less prosperity gospel, and more people willing to listen to the matrix of groan and mourn for them. Where are the merciful and the pure in heart today? Are meek just losers? And what do people hunger for today? Do they hunger for righteousness and justice and peace? Not in Trump's America. Do we all remember Jimmy Carter? If there ever was a president who would be a saint, I think we would all agree at this point it would be Jimmy Carter. And I want an icon for Jimmy Carter in the church. And for Martin Luther King Jr. and Dorothy Day, Mother Teresa, Dietrich Bonhoeffer, Oscar Romero, Rosa Parks, and Mohandas Gandhi. Hey, maybe it would make the next good slideshow, getting all of those pictures up there. I think I've said before that Trump is not the source of our problems in America. He is the epitome and the idolization of them. For me, he's almost become the poster boy of what not to strive to as a Christian. Regardless of who wins this election, we have to turn the corner in America away from the idolatry of wealth and greatness and winning. Whatever the outcome, I have this feeling like we need to reintroduce Jesus to Americans. Jesus who extolled meekness, mercy, purity in heart, peacemakers. We need more saints in America. I do have hope today. I hope it doesn't disappear on Wednesday. I feel an energy rising, and I still believe that we shall overcome. Amen.